Hello, Future Zand here for just a second, just letting you know that this battle was played on Showdown. So instead of the normal Game 3, I did do a quick test battle before we figured out it was being played on Showdown, and that will replace Game 3 of this video. Well, there is no Game 3, spoilers. But if you want to stick around, see some Wi-Fi content, there is one Wi-Fi battle at the end, which is pretty cool. So hopefully you enjoy that, and I'll also plug this awesome animation down in the description. Thanks. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to week 2 of the SCDA Premier Ball White Division. We're playing DuckiiVGC this week, who's also 0-1, so one of us is going to come out of this battle with a win, the other is going to stay winless for at least another week. So hoping we can pick up our first win here. Unfortunately, for this battle, we are having to play in Showdown. The time just did not match up. The times that he could play were essentially 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. for me, which is just not feasible. So we're going to run it on Showdown instead. I think he's got a really strong team. I did talk to him some during team building before we had the final teams built back in the draft. And I do think he has fixed a lot of his team. And not that it was broken, but I do think it's a lot better now. So looking at his team, we have Golden Go, which I don't have a great history against. It's a very strong Pokemon. You know, good as gold, meaning it's immune to all support moves. It only has a handful of weaknesses, and my team can kind of abuse them to an extent, but some of my Pokemon do just have a hard time against the Golden Go. I know Spectre pretty much never knocks it out. I would have to run like TERA Ghost Shadow Ball, which is not great into some of his other members. Like the Iron Jugulus that I do expect to show up, so can't really justify bringing that. It's got the standard Ogerpon, so this is our second week in a row playing Ogerpon. This one has freedom of item, but the trade-off is it's only a grass type, so it doesn't have that really strong secondary offense stab. I do anticipate something similar to last week. I think Ivy Cudgel is guaranteed. He wants Play Rough and Stomping Tantrum for my team, and even then he's completely walled by Moltres. So I do anticipate some form of Encore, Spiky Shield, Follow Me, and I do expect him to bring the Rain, because without the Rain, he is really weak into Moltres. So I think Politoed shows up, you know, your standard Rain setter, been around since Gen 5, does the same thing pretty much since then. It's got the Perish Song, Hypnosis, Muddy Water, Icy, Wind, you know, just basic support, basic moves, but very solid Pokemon to have. He's got the Pachirisu. I think if he brings it, I'm going to anticipate a lot of setup. He could have Follow Me so that he could Nasty Plot on Golden Go. He could Swords Dance or Focus Energy on Ogerpon. Or he could maybe even Swords Dance on Dreadnought or setup in whatever way he likes. I don't know if he'd go for Shell Smash, but that is an option available to him. He's got the Delphox, which kind of feels out of place on a Rain team. But I think if he brings it, I know pretty well what it does, so I didn't really prep too hard for that one. It could end up throwing a wrench in my plans, but I wasn't too worried about it. Iron Jugulus, we do have a fun little tech for turn 1 if he leads the Jugulus and we lead Spectre. So hopefully we see that, and hopefully it is like the booster speed Tailwind type set. We've got the Toxicroak, that's his form of Fake Out on the team. I do think it shows up. It enjoys the Dry Skin Rain recovery. It is slower Fake Out than Persian, so it does kind of lose that matchup, but it does threaten quite a bit of my team outside of Pokemon like Spectre that I don't even think it 2-shots with Sucker Punch, so that's pretty nice. And then he's got the Oinkalone, or Oinkalone. I didn't really bother looking much into it. I'm not that concerned about it, as well as the Riolu. I know it can do some prankster shenanigans, but I can't be bothered too worried about these 5-pointers. I don't expect them to do much. If they show up, I'll look into them. And then Dreadnought is his Rain Sweeper of choice, as opposed to something like Ludicolo, Golduck, or another Swift Swimmer. Dreadnought's still pretty strong. It's pretty threatening. It's got the Rock Slides. It can spam. Definitely can run like Adamant Life Orb in the rain and still outrun pretty much everything. So it is a pretty threatening Pokemon. So let's look at what I brought. So here are the mons I'm bringing this week. I got quite a bit of help from Quick, who you all may know knocked me out of quarterfinals of the PGL. He's a very good battler, very good builder, and I noticed I am very out of my element with VGC still, even though I have a whole season under my belt. So I asked him for some help, and he said Scarf Spectre looked amazing here. It goes crazy. So if he brings a Scarfer, we're guaranteed faster than it, no matter what. This Spectre is faster than Booster Energy Iron Jugulus, but it's also faster than a +1 speed Ogre Pawn. So if it terrestrializes turn 1, we still outrun it, which is amazing because all we need is some amount of chip on it, and we can knock it out with this. We have the Terra Blast Fairy. Unless it's a very SPDF Jugulus, which I don't know that it will be, we do just KO it turn 1 straight out the gate if we need to, if we really want to prevent his Tailwind. So we have that option available to us. We got the Psychic for the Toxicroak, Shadow Ball just because it's Shadow Ball, and we've got the Snarl to reduce stats if we knock out the Ogre Pawn and we need to reduce some special attack later in the game. We've got the Persian is our only real support this week. We got the 4 attacks on it though, so not exactly a support Pokemon. It's just offensive. This is another quick recommendation that I thought was really good. Instead of just running a defensive fur coat set and probably still getting 2-shot, why not just run Focus Sash, guarantee you get 2-shot anyway unless Sand is up, and do some damage. Technician, Snarl, and Icy Wind actually do like over double the damage. So Snarl from a fur coat 0 investment Persian is doing like 20% to Golden Go, but with this investment we're doing over 40% to max health. So maybe 2-hit KOing a fully offensive one. I didn't really check. So really strong. We got the Snarl and Icy Wind, which are dangerous to click into Ogre Pawn Teal Mask because of Defiant. So we have the U-turn to help us pivot out as well. And U-turn is also nice if we set up Trick Room with the Slowking directly below the Persian. I do plan on leading with the 2, faking out Trick Rooming turn 1, and then going for something with Slowking, maybe a Yawn, and U-turning with Persian to get a really slow pivot into Tyranitar, so we have 3 full turns of Trick Room to spam the Tyranitar with. It should underspeed everything on his team. So Slowking's just a basic dual stab. We've got the Scald, we've got the Psychic, really good coverage into his team. Scald in general in the rain just does a lot of damage even without any investment. And then Psychic obviously takes care of the Toxicroak, who's his water immunity. Yawn just to force things to switch around could be really nice if we're setting up kommo-o and we put things to sleep, maybe at the very end of Trick Room. We can yawn things and force them to either threaten kommo-o or switch out, but they can't do both. We've got the really strong Tyranitar. Dragon Terra was the choice this week. I do think that Electric Terra was better offensively, but Dragon Terra is just amazing defensively. We turn those super effective water and grass type moves into resistances, which is huge against a rain team with an Ogre Pawn. So I thought that was really valuable. Rock Slide, High Horsepower, and Knockoff are just super spammable into his team. It doesn't have a whole lot of switch-ins into those trio of moves. I almost ran Assurance, but that didn't really affect the calcs. If something lives on 1 health after I hit it with a Scald or Psychic from Slowking plus a Knockoff, then I'll eat my words. But until then, I do think Knockoff is the better option. We got the kommo-o Citrus Berry this week because I do think we're almost certain to take a hit while we're setting up Clinging Scale or Klinger's Soul. So I think being able to heal back is nice. And then we've got the Terra Normal Boom Burst. So +1 Terra Normal Boom Burst eats through his whole team. And Clinging Scales eats through his whole team. He has 1 resist to both of those moves and it's Golden Go. So if we have kommo-o in the back, our priority number 1, get rid of Golden Go. If Golden Go's gone, kommo-o wins, or at least has a good shot of winning because it deals so much damage. Finally, we have the Dugtrio. His max speed being 110. And a lot of his Pokemon being weak to a combination of ground and electric. I thought Dugtrio was really solid here with Life Orb. It's funny, we have 29 HP IVs, so we lose 1 less health per Life Orb hit. Normally wouldn't matter at all, but Dugtrio's base health is so horrible that I think that 1 HP might add up if we do get to attack a couple of times. So we'll see if it ends up paying off. Maybe it doesn't, but I thought it was kind of a cool tech. And Life Orb plus Sand Force just does crazy damage with the Stomping Tantrum and Iron Head. Iron Head into Ogre Pawn with the Sand Up is like, it's not a KO, but it's close. Like any other chip damage we get on it would take it out. So excited to see this team work. We kind of have 2 dedicated modes. No matter what, Persian kind of has to come up front. We've got Slowking to set up Trick Room for Tyranitar in the back. And then behind that, we either run the kommo-o or the Spectre. We can have Persian plus Spectre lead and have our faster mode in the back, kommo-o plus either Dugtrio or Tyranitar, but we definitely want Dugtrio on the same team as Tyranitar. So We'll have to work that out, but Tyranitar pretty much comes to every game, and everything here is to support it. So once again, we are leaning pretty heavily into it, but hopefully we can see a little more TERA diversity this game. So without further ado, let's get on into the battle. All right, and we are back. And it looks like our opponent has about what we expected. He's sending his TERAs now. I will type mine. Make sure I get them right. So we can write his TERA types down real quick. Fairy Politoed means it definitely has TERA Blast, right? So Golden Go is Steel. Spamming. Make It Rains. Toxicroak is Dark. I guess boosted Sucker Punches into Spectra. Ogerpon has to be Grass. Grass. E-Toad. Fairy. Dreadnought. Electric. Oh, Jugulis is flying. I missed that part. I guess it could be TERA Blast flying? Or just spamming really strong hurricanes. Jugulis flying. Me2. So if we quickly go into our prep dock, I am not bringing Moltres, Klefki, Makar Lurantis. He's not bringing Riolu, Oink, Pachirisu, or Delphox, which is pretty much exactly what we expected. We see that he's really weak to electric and ground, so that's nice and spammable. All right, so what do we want to lead game one? I do like the Spectrier lead with Persian. I do like T-Tar in the back to get rid of Rain. Bringing it in on Rain is a little awkward because we could bring it in on a potential water move, but it is AV, so it should take hits from Politoed just fine. It's just the Dreadnought that's a problem. So I do think Persian Spectrier is a solid lead if we can just get rid of that that guy immediately. Oh shoot. If we could just get rid of Jugulis immediately, that would be fantastic. T-Tar in the back, and I guess Kommo in the back. We save the Slowking Trick Room mode, and we save the Dugtrio mode for another game. Boomburst, kommo-o looks incredible here as soon as we get rid of Golden Go. So if we can get rid of Golden Go as fast as possible, that would be amazing. All right, so he does lead with the Jug plus the Politoed. We lead with the Spectrier. He is booster speed. If I quickly grab my team, throw it into a calc on a separate sheet, and pull up Spectrier custom set versus an Iron Jugulis. We TERA Fairy. I mean, it's a chance to knock out if he's like max HP and a lot of SCDA. So I think I will fake out the Jug, and I will go for a TERA Fairy, TERA Blast into the Jug. So we fake it out, do 9%, TERA Blast KOs it. Nice. So we immediately get a knockout on the Jugulis. Muddy Water misses the Spectrier and knocks us down to Sash on Persian. Wow. I know we're like min SCDA, but holy, that's crazy. Custom set versus Politoed. Is that normal? Modest says it's only doing 81 to 95 with Rain against this Persian. Golden goes in. I think I can Snarl pretty safely as Persian, and obviously I want to save Spectrier's TERA in the back if possible. Could get rid of the Rain. T-Tar could eat a pretty big hit here, like a Muddy Water, like a Specs Muddy Water it seems like, plus a TERA Steel Make It Rain. That would hurt a lot. But I guess I'm getting the Snarl off, so that's something. So we'll just switch the Rain. I will knock myself out. Okay, Snarl does 44% of Golden Go, so it does have some investment. It is Nasty Plot, so it does go back up to +1. And Muddy Water knocks out Persian anyway, so it didn't matter. We do get a accuracy drop on T-Tar, which is not preferred. Does Spectre knock out Golden Go? Let me see. If it TERA steals. Nasty Plot leftovers. If it TERA steals, we definitely don't knock it out, and it definitely knocks us out in return with a Mega Rain. So we can go kommo-o here. How does kommo-o do against a +1 Make It Rain? Custom set, Mega Rain +1. That hurts a lot. We can't TERA with kommo-o, so if it has Gleam, it also just knocks us out. Tyranitar with Sand Up and AV. Mega Rain's probably not knocking us out from here. I think I have to go Spectre. I can Snarl again, set him back down to 0, but a Make It Rain will still do a lot of damage. I think it is worth snarling because he's almost certain to TERA here, right? TERA steal the Golden Go and go for Make It Rain. And there's no better way for us to hit it. If it goes TERA steal, terastallizes. Our Shadow Ball is doing 48 to 56. So yeah, I think I kind of have to go for a Snarl here. And T-Tar is likely to get KO'd. He might switch out the Politoed. I mean, regardless, high horsepower is a pretty safe click, except the fact that I can just miss. So we'll just go for a knock. He does protect. Get another Snarl off. Knocks Politoed down. And Muddy Water. Wow, that is crazy damage. So I will Snarl once more. He will knock out Spectre here. And hopefully we don't miss with Tyranitar. That's kind of what we're banking on, is a 75% accurate move, which is not great. And he's Ogerpon last, which is not great. He does get the Defiant boost. Makes it rain. T-Tar should live. T-Tar does live. And we get the knockoff. We do land. So Golden Go's also a Golden gone. It is leftovers. But we have a +2 Ogerpon that's faster than all of our remaining Pokemon. I probably should have switched Spectre out there. He probably TERAs Ogerpon. If he's Play Rough, he just Play Roughs kommo-o, Muddy Waters, Tyranitar, and wins game 1. So we kind of have to play off the choke. I think I do just go for a Clanging Scales, honestly. And Rock Slide. It's Fairy, Politoed, Grass, Ogerpon. Yep, so he does TERA Grass, gains his speed boost. Play Roughs, kommo-o knocks it out. Muddy Water knocks out T-Tar. Ice Beam does not knock out T-Tar, but it does freeze us. So we don't get any potential KO on the Politoed. Okay, so I think Trick Room might be the play for game 2. I figured Ogerpon was in the back, but we had to click Snarl there. So yeah, we're just gonna get cudgeled. Okay, say GG. So that's Specs, Politoed. We know it's Specs, Politoed. Oh, I can't go back and see the game. Oh yeah, I can. Sorry. Not used to the best of 3 function. So he didn't bring Dreadnought, didn't bring Toxicroak at all last game. Just brought the core 4 that I really anticipated showing up. Don't know, I guess I didn't really prep for them all being in the same game. Or at least with Spectre, I should have just clicked Shadow Ball on Golden Go, but I guess he protected, and then he could have either TERA'd or switched it into Ogerpon, but I guess it would have applied more offensive pressure, so that was probably my big misplay there. So I do think we definitely go Persian plus Slowking, with T-Tar in the back. I mean, we have to save this TERA on kommo-o if we want it to not get destroyed by Ogerpon. Otherwise, it's always better to have Spectre in the back. It's really hard. I round 1 picked this kommo-o, and I just cannot make it work. So sorry if I'm looking over here. This is where my actual gameplay screen is for Showdown. This is my backup screen with the recording. So he does lead the same too. Honestly, I don't mind. Oh, I did make one switch to the team builder. This is Covert Cloak, just so I can't get Dark Pulse flinched. I will just fake out the Polytoad this time and go for a Trick Room. We do know the Polytoad will do insane damage to us, so we do want to slow that down. He taunts. It doesn't matter. We're oblivious. We do get a Trick Room up. So, love Oblivious on Slowking. It's very useful. Jugulus is really not a threat here, especially with TERA coming in. We can hard switch, but that leads us getting hit by like Muddy Water from Polytoad, which TERA still doesn't appreciate, even with AV and the SCDA boost. But keeping Persian's Sash alive for later in the game might also be really useful. So if I quickly look at the calc for a Tyranitar into a Polytoad, that is choice specs, I can only imagine. And it's Sand that's up. I mean, it's doing 32 to 38%. So it could be worse. We can TERA Dragon afterwards if we need to. I think 33% on Tyranitar is better than Persian getting knocked to Sash. We can also yawn something here, or we can just go for a Psychic. I think I will yawn the Polytoad, try to make it a non-issue on the next turn. We do get Sand up. Polytoad's drowsy. Hits us with a Muddy Water, does do about the 35%. We lose our accuracy on TERA again. Dark Pulse does 52%. So that's not great. I hate that we keep losing accuracy. I think here I can just go for Scald plus Rock Slide. Scald into Jugulus plus Rock Slide. I do expect Polytoad to want to switch out here, as it does. We do get a Scald. It does do decent damage. Rock Slide, does it double miss? It double misses. Love Muddy Water as a move. Slowking goes down. Persian can come in and fake out, but then it loses its Sash. Kommo-o can come in. I think this is our have-to play, unfortunately. We got 2 turns of Trick Room left. I mean, Rock Slide again knocks out Jugulus from here, I'm almost sure. I can bring up the calc quickly, but Tyranitar into Iron Jugulus. Rock Slide does 54% to max HP, and we know it's less than max HP probably. Could also knock off into the Golden Go, get rid of leftovers, do some chip. Golden Go is the only thing standing in Kommo-o's way, so I think I will try to knock it off. And I can Klinger Soul into Protect here if I don't expect him to attack into Kommo-o, but I think I will. He could double into it next turn. Could TERA normal, Klinger Soul here. Polytoad comes back in, resets Rain. We both TERA, so he goes Steel TERA. We knock off his leftovers, do a huge chunk of damage. Set up our Klinger Soul. And he goes for Make It Rain. It will hurt. Okay, it will KO TERA without the Sand boost. But luckily, our Sash is now intact, and we can fake out whatever we want here. Does a Boom Burst from Kommo-o at +1 KO Polytoad? It's now the question. Kommo-o into Polytoad. It's specs, max special attack, so the most it can be is max HP, I guess. Max SCDA for at +1. We're doing like no damage. That's crazy. Clanging Scales. It's doing 48 to 57. Boom Burst is doing 41 to 49. If we TERA, Boom Burst doing 62 to 73, so we need chip on it. So I guess I will fake out the Polytoad and just protect Kommo-o. Does switch it out. Do get a Protect up. makes it rain. This will knock Persian down to Sash. Not quite. So Golden goes nice and weak now. So that's A+. If he TERAs with Ogre Pawn, it outspeeds kommo-o. We do have some defense investment. If we look at Ogre Pawn, what is this music? Sorry, it's just on a random stream. That scared me. Ivy Cudgel should never KO us from here. I think I do just drop a Boom Burst, knock out my own Persian. It doesn't really matter too much. He protects. We Boom Burst, knock out our own Persian. Does not even knock out Golden Ghost. We definitely lose here. Yeah, 28%. That's enough for Ogre to KO us. So we do lose. We do go down 2-0. I'm struggling with this team. Setting up kommo against these teams is not working out for me at all. The accuracy drop was unfortunate, but even with Jugulis going down there, I don't think it mattered. We Boom Burst. Ogre Pawn lives anyway. So he didn't even... Oh, he wasn't able to TERA. So we could have won there. Actually, I didn't think about that. Ogre Pawn couldn't TERA to gain its speed because Golden Goat already TERA'd. So had that Boom Burst knocked out the Ogre Pawn, we might have cleaned up. Polytoad probably still lived a hit, honestly. Jugulis definitely didn't, but Polytoad almost certainly did. Ice Beam probably would have KO'd us from 28. So yeah, we do go down 0-2. He does lose one Pokemon that game, but our differential's not looking great. We did use all our trades very early on in the season, so we have one left. I don't know that I can fix the whole team with one trade, but we'll look into it, see what we can do. Try to bounce back next week and get the Wi-Fi battles going again. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. Quick second test just to make sure the audio doesn't destroy itself. Torn Samurott. I have no clue what Samurott does in DGC. I definitely know what it does in singles. I don't mind getting hit by Bleak Wind. I will just Trick Room and fake out the Samurott because I have no idea what that thing wants to do. And Torn often carries Ghost TERA, so I'm not going to play with that. He sets Tailwind. So, about what we wanted to see, I guess. Samurott flinches. We get our Trick Room up. Slowking can do absolutely nothing to this Samurott outside of fish for a burn. So I think I will try to put it to sleep. I will just U-turn on the Torn to break any sashes and get Persian out. He cannot taunt Slowking. You yawn the Samurott. We might see a Ceaseless Edge here. Wouldn't be great. We're slower with Persian. So it's Scarfs. It's not at all what I wanted to see. We'll go into T-Star. Let's hope it didn't launch a water move into that slot. I assume it's a dark move into the Slowking slot. Well, that did not go well. Scarfed Sacred Sword Samurott. Oh, it's faster than me because of... Oh my god. Tailwind. I'm stupid. I should not have U-turned there. That's crazy. I got absolutely obliterated by that. We'll go into the kommo now. We don't get hit by the Sandstorm, which is a small positive. Samurott has to switch out or fall asleep. We'll Psychic into the Tornadus. I don't want to get hit by a Bleak Wind, so I'll protect for one turn. Samurott does switch to avoid falling asleep. Pheasantipity is the switch-in of choice, so we will be terrestrializing Samurott kommo this game. Maybe the Psychic 2 shots were 0 investment, so I kind of doubt it. It does, okay. It's looking kind of strong. Oh, it's Citrus Ray though, so fake 2 shots. And Bleak Wind. Yeah, no surprises there. So we can TERA kommo this turn. Slowking takes a decent chunk from that. How many turns of Trick Room do we have left? It's hurting me at this point. Okay, Pheasantipity slower than Torn, which is probably not a surprise. One turn of Trick Room. I can't see. 2 turns of Trick Room, 1 turn of Tailwind. So I think in that case, Scald the Tornadus, Terrasilize Clanger's Soul. We're gonna take a lot of damage. Okay, Torn switches, saving Tailwind for later. Ursaluna comes in. So we'll be in Trick Room without a Tailwind for 1 turn. It's not fantastic. Do TERA kommo-o to save it from being hit by a 4 times effective Dazzling Gleam, as it was last game, or last week. They also TERA the Pheasantipede, so it's going to become something. Flying type. Okay, so it's a real bird now. That's something. Scald into the Ursaluna does crazy damage. Set up our Clanger's Soul, so we do hurt ourselves a bit in the process. You get all the boost that you would expect. Starting to think Throat Spray might be better. Any Calm Minds with the Pheasantipede. Not what we want to see, obviously. So, last turn of Trick Room, Tailwind ends here. Can try to get rid of the Ursaluna with a Scald. I guess Samurott could switch in there, but it risks the burn. We could also Yawn the Pheasantipede. I think that's not a bad play. And just protect kommo-o for the last turn of Trick Room. Dang, this is tough. Draft teams against non-draft opponents. It's just not optimal ever. We do Yawn, so Pheasantipede will fall asleep next turn if it doesn't switch out. Drops a Blood Moon into Slowking, and it crits me and just absolutely blows back Slowking. And Dazzling Gleam. Okay. It's fun. Have to bring Persian in here. We can Snarl the Pheasantipede. We can Icy Wind. We can fake out the Pheasantipede, which is probably the best play, to be honest. Fake out the Ursaluna in case we don't KO it, but I'm pretty sure we do. We don't, that's pretty sad. How many turns of Sand? Last turn of Sand. Can fake out the Pheasantipede. Drop a Clanging Scales. So it will fall asleep this turn, which is pretty nice. We do not have any non-spread moves, so that's not great. We will KO it eventually. Oh, it's Covert Cloak, okay. And it gets the Toxic Chain onto Persian. So I'm just going to Boom Burst this next turn. Screw Persian, dude. We get to blow back Persian. Yeah, it's gone after this turn regardless. Pheasantipede sleeps. I just want to see how much Boom Burst does to his back mons. Torn comes in to set Prankster Tailwind so Samurott can win the game. Man, I really wish we would have taken a little bit more damage on kommo-o. But can't be prevented. Okay, Pheasantipede switches. This Boom Burst is going to hurt Samurott a lot. Unless it's AV. I guess that's totally possible. Sacred Sword's going to really hurt us too. But big +1 normal TERA Boom Burst. Oh, it's the double KO. All he has left is a sleeping Pheasantipede. I think we win this battle against all odds. Because he switched instead of just Tailwinding and knocking me out with Sacred Sword. That was not the play, but we take those. We play off chokes here, right? Pheasantipede comes in. It has not taken a turn of sleep yet. I will just dump a Boom Burst. I guess if this doesn't knock it out, It's a bit of mind game, but I don't think it can KO me. Okay, it does knock it out. Nice. Wow. TERA normal boom burst. Very strong. Cool. Big dubs.